Ladies and gentlemen, you have been given one life, just one. Not a rehearsal, not a draft, not a practice round. Every sunrise brings a fresh page, and every breath carries a silent question. What will be done with this moment? Time moves whether action is taken or not. Dreams wait, but they do not wait forever. Opportunities pass quietly, and regret speaks the loudest when chances are ignored. There is power in realizing that this single life holds unlimited potential. Background does not matter. Past mistakes do not matter. Fear does not define the future. What truly matters is the decision to rise again, to move forward again, to believe again. Greatness is not reserved for a chosen few. It is built by those who refuse to stay where they started. Comfort will always invite you to stay the same. Doubt will always whisper that change is impossible. But growth begins the moment comfort is challenged. The strongest transformation happens when excuses end and responsibility begins. Every small step taken today shapes the reality of tomorrow. This life is too short to live according to other people's expectations. It is too valuable to waste on comparison, negativity, and hesitation. The world makes room for those who take action, for those who turn pain into purpose, for those who continue even when the path is unclear. Failure is not the end, it is a lesson. Delay is not safety, it is loss. Waiting for the perfect moment is the biggest risk, because the perfect moment is created, not found. The power to change everything already exists within this present second. One life means one chance to become everything that was once imagined. One chance to break limits, one chance to create a story that inspires others. At the end, the question will not be about comfort, but about courage. Not about what was owned, but about what was done. Life is not a rehearsal, every moment matters. This is not a practice run where mistakes can be erased, and scenes can be performed again with better timing. This is the only performance, the only chance to step forward and become everything that has been imagined in quiet thoughts and late night promises. Time does not slow down to wait for readiness. It moves with or without permission, turning seconds into memories and opportunities into history. The clock never asks whether the heart feels prepared. It simply keeps going, reminding that the present is the most powerful place to stand. So much of life is spent believing there will be a better moment somewhere ahead, a perfect day when fear disappears, when confidence arrives, when conditions finally feel right. Yet that perfect moment is an illusion that steals the beauty of what exists now. The truth is that everything meaningful begins in uncertainty. Every bold step is taken before comfort appears. Every transformation starts when hesitation is challenged, and action becomes stronger than doubt. The weight of waiting quietly drains the energy that could have been used to build, to create, to speak, to try. Every moment carries unseen value. A simple decision to start today can open doors that once seemed permanently closed. A small effort repeated consistently can become a powerful force that reshapes the future. Words spoken with sincerity can heal hearts. A risk taken despite fear can change the direction of an entire life. None of these things require perfection, they only require presence. The present moment is the only place where change is possible, the only place where growth can begin, the only place where dreams can move from imagination into reality. There is a silent danger in believing there will always be more time. Time is the most generous gift, yet it is also the most fragile. Once it passes, it does not return with another chance to do what was left undone. Regret is not born from failure. It is born from inaction, from the moments that were ignored, from the chances that were never taken. The fear of making mistakes often builds invisible walls that keep potential locked inside, but mistakes are not the enemy. They are proof of movement, proof of courage, proof that life is being lived rather than observed from a distance. Every day offers countless opportunities to move closer to purpose. The effort given to growth, the discipline shown in difficult moments, the choice to continue when progress feels slow, all of it shapes a stronger version of the self. Greatness is never created in one dramatic moment. It is built in the ordinary seconds that most people overlook. It is built in choosing to try again, in refusing to give up, in showing up even when motivation is low. These small, consistent actions carry more power than the rare bursts of inspiration that fade as quickly as they arrive. Comparison steals the urgency of the present by creating the illusion of being ahead or behind. Every journey unfolds at its own pace, and every path has its own lessons. The only moment that truly belongs to anyone is this one, and what is done with it determines the direction of everything that follows. There is no need to wait for approval, no need to seek validation before beginning. The value of a moment is not measured by how perfect it looks, but by how fully it is used. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move while fear is still present. Strength is not found in having everything figured out. It is built through taking steps into the unknown. Growth is not comfortable, but it is always worth it. The moments that challenge the most are often the moments that define the future. When comfort is chosen over progress, time continues to move, and the chance to become more slowly fades. When action is chosen despite uncertainty, time becomes an ally, turning effort into results and persistence into transformation. Life is happening now, in the breaths being taken, in the thoughts being formed, in the choices being made. It is in the decision to begin, in the willingness to continue, in the determination to rise after falling. The power of this truth is simple and overwhelming at the same time. There will never be another version of this exact moment. What is done with it becomes the foundation of everything that comes next. Every second holds the possibility of change, of growth, of purpose, of impact. Every second matters. Past mistakes do not define future potential. Expend it in 700 words without subheading and conclusion. Past mistakes do not define future potential. They are moments that have already played their part, lessons that have delivered their message, experiences that have shaped awareness, but they are not permanent labels. Too often, the mind turns old failures into lifelong identities, replaying them again and again as if they are proof that progress is impossible. In reality, mistakes are evidence of effort, of movement, of being human. They show that there was an attempt, a risk, a step taken into the unknown. The only true danger is allowing those moments to become chains that hold back the future. Every successful path is built on missteps that once felt unbearable. Growth does not come from always being right. It comes from learning what does not work and finding the strength to try again. The weight of the past becomes heavy only when it is carried as guilt instead of being used as guidance. There is a difference between remembering a mistake and living inside it. One creates wisdom, the other creates fear. Wisdom pushes forward with new understanding, while fear keeps a person standing at the same starting line, convinced that nothing will ever change. Potential lives in the present, not in the past. It exists in the choices that can be made today, in the actions that can be taken now, in the mindset that can be reshaped at any moment. What happened before cannot be edited, but what happens next is still unwritten. That is where the real power is. Every new decision is a declaration that the story is still being written. Every small improvement is proof that change is possible. The past may have provided the lesson, but the future is built through the response to that lesson. There is a quiet strength in accepting mistakes without allowing them to control identity. Failure may have happened, but it did not remove the ability to grow. Wrong decisions may have been made, but they did not erase the capacity to choose differently. Time did not stop after those moments, and neither did the opportunity to become better. The human spirit is designed to adapt, to learn, to rise again. Resilience is not the absence of falling. It is the refusal to stay down. The fear of repeating old errors often prevents new beginnings. It creates hesitation where there should be action. It replaces confidence with doubt, but every new step is taken with more knowledge than before. Every attempt is stronger because it carries the understanding gained from previous experiences. The past, when used correctly, becomes an advantage rather than a limitation. It becomes a foundation for smarter decisions, deeper awareness, and stronger determination. Self-forgiveness is one of the most powerful forces in transformation. Without it, energy is wasted on regret instead of being invested in growth. Holding onto shame does not correct what happened. It only delays what could happen next. Letting go does not mean ignoring the mistake. It means refusing to let it define identity. It means recognizing that the same person who once made an error is also the person who can create something meaningful, something strong, something completely different. Progress is always available to those who are willing to begin again. It does not matter how many times the path was lost before. It does not matter how many wrong turns were taken. The direction can still be changed. A single decision to move forward can shift everything. Small, consistent actions have the power to rebuild confidence that was once broken. Each new effort weakens the voice of the past and strengthens the vision of the future. There is no greatness without moments that once felt like failure. There is no wisdom without experiences that taught difficult lessons. The most powerful transformations often come from the lowest points, because those are the moments where new perspectives are born. The past cannot compete with the determination of someone who has decided to rise. It cannot limit someone who is committed to growth. It cannot define someone who understands that potential is not a fixed condition but a living, expanding force. The future does not ask for perfection, it asks for effort. It does not demand a flawless history, it responds to present action. Every step taken today sends a message that the story is still unfolding, that change is still possible, that the best chapters have not yet been written. Potential is not a reflection of where someone has been. It is a reflection of the direction they choose to move. Growth begins outside the comfort zone. Everything familiar feels safe because it asks for nothing new. The routines are known, the risks are minimal, and the outcome is predictable. There is a quiet temptation in staying where things are easy, where effort is small and fear is silent. But nothing extraordinary is created in that space. The comfort zone is not a place of progress, it is a place of repetition. It keeps life the same day after day, by convincing the mind that security is more valuable than possibility. The moment a step is taken beyond what feels comfortable, something begins to change. The heart beats faster, the mind becomes alert, and awareness expands. This is not weakness. This is the signal that growth has started. Discomfort is not an obstacle. It is evidence that limits are being challenged. Every new skill once felt unfamiliar. Every achievement once seemed impossible. The distance between where a person stands and where they want to be is always crossed through moments of uncertainty. Fear often appears at the edge of the comfort zone, creating reasons to stay back. It speaks in the language of doubt, reminding of past difficulties, highlighting the chance of failure, magnifying the risk of being judged. But fear is not a stop sign. It is a doorway. It points directly toward the areas where the most development can happen. The choice to move forward despite fear is the choice to expand ability, confidence, and vision. There is no strength in doing only what is easy. Strength is built when challenges are accepted, when patience is practiced, when persistence continues even without immediate results. The comfort zone offers temporary peace, but it slowly weakens potential by keeping it unused. Just like a muscle that is never exercised loses its power, a life that is never challenged loses its chance to grow. The first attempts outside that space may feel awkward and uncertain, but every repetition turns discomfort into familiarity and fear into confidence. New opportunities exist beyond what is known. New perspectives are discovered when different paths are explored. The moment a person dares to try something that once seemed out of reach, the boundaries of what is possible begin to shift. Growth is not always visible at the beginning. It happens quietly in the effort to continue, in the decision to try again, in the willingness to learn from mistakes. Each small victory builds momentum, and that momentum creates transformation. Comfort creates the illusion of stability, but real stability comes from adaptability. When challenges are faced, problem-solving skills improve. When unfamiliar situations are entered, creativity increases. When failure is experienced and overcome, resilience becomes stronger. These qualities cannot be developed by staying in a place where everything is predictable. They are earned through experience, through movement, through the courage to face what is unknown. There is a version of life that only exists beyond the limits of comfort. It is the version where hidden talents are discovered, where confidence replaces hesitation, where dreams move from imagination into reality. That version cannot be reached by waiting for the perfect moment to feel ready. Readiness is created through action. The step that feels the most difficult is often the one that leads to the greatest change. Every person who has ever achieved something meaningful has faced moments of discomfort. Learning, leading, creating, and improving all require entering spaces that once felt unfamiliar. The difference between those who remain the same and those who grow is not talent or luck. It is the willingness to be uncomfortable for a period of time. Short-term discomfort creates long-term strength. Temporary fear creates permanent expansion. The comfort zone will always be there, inviting a return to what is easy and known. But beyond it lies progress, confidence, and a deeper understanding of what is truly possible. Each time the boundary is crossed, it becomes easier to cross again. What once felt impossible becomes normal. What once caused fear becomes a source of pride. The journey of growth is a continuous movement into new levels of challenge, new levels of learning, and new levels of self-discovery. Waiting for the perfect time leads to lost opportunities. The idea of a flawless moment where everything is aligned and every condition feels right is comforting but dangerously misleading. It creates the illusion that progress must begin under ideal circumstances, that success requires complete confidence, unlimited resources, and the absence of uncertainty. While the mind searches for that perfect point in the future, life continues to move forward, and the chances that once stood close slowly drift away. Time does not pause for preparation. It does not negotiate or return to offer the same moment again. What could have been started today becomes something that is remembered tomorrow as a missed possibility. Perfection is often used as a disguise for fear. The fear of failure, the fear of judgment, the fear of stepping into the unknown. It feels safer to say that the time is not right than to admit that the first step is difficult. But every meaningful achievement in history began in conditions that were not perfect. There were doubts, limitations, and risks. The difference is that action was taken anyway. Movement created clarity. Effort created improvement. The journey itself created the readiness that was once believed to be required at the beginning. Opportunities rarely announce themselves with certainty. They appear quietly, sometimes disguised as challenges, sometimes hidden inside small beginnings. They require a decision in the present, not a promise for the future. When the response is delayed again and again, those opportunities do not wait. Someone else steps forward, circumstances change, the moment passes. What remains is the realization that the perfect time was never a future event. It was the moment that was ignored. There is a powerful transformation that happens when action is taken without waiting for everything to feel comfortable. Confidence begins to grow through experience, not before it. Skills begin to develop through practice, not before it. Understanding deepens through mistakes, not before them. The first step is always the most uncertain, but it is also the most important. It breaks the pattern of hesitation and creates momentum. That momentum becomes stronger with every effort, turning small beginnings into meaningful progress. Waiting creates a false sense of control. It feels as though more time will bring more preparation, more knowledge, more certainty. In reality, waiting often brings more doubt. The longer something is postponed, the heavier it feels. The mind fills with reasons why it cannot be done, why the risk is too great, why the conditions are still not right. Meanwhile, the energy that once inspired the idea begins to fade. Passion weakens when it is not used. Motivation disappears when it is not turned into action. The present moment holds a unique power because it is the only place where change can occur. Yesterday cannot be altered, and tomorrow is shaped by what is done now. Every small step taken immediately has more value than a perfect plan that is never started. Imperfect action creates real results. It teaches, it adjusts, it moves forward. The path becomes clearer only after the journey begins. Regret is rarely about the things that were tried and failed. It is about the chances that were never taken, the words that were never spoken, the dreams that were never given a real attempt. It is about looking back and realizing that fear of imperfect timing prevented the creation of something meaningful. The cost of waiting is not always visible in the moment, but it becomes clear over time as the distance grows between what could have been and what is. Every day brings a new opportunity to break the cycle of postponement. It does not require a dramatic change or a sudden burst of courage. It begins with a simple decision to start, to take one step, to use what is available now instead of wishing for what is not. The conditions will never be flawless, but progress does not depend on perfection. It depends on persistence. The most successful journeys are not those that began at the perfect time, but those that began despite imperfect circumstances. They are built by people who chose action over hesitation, who understood that growth happens in motion, not in waiting. The moment that feels too early is often the moment that creates the greatest advantage. The step taken today carries more power than the promise of a better time in the future. Failure is a lesson, not an ending. Expend it in 700 words without subheading and conclusion. Failure is a lesson, not an ending. It is often seen as a sign of defeat, a reflection of inadequacy, or proof that an effort was wasted. Yet failure, in its truest sense, is not a final verdict on capability. It is a teacher that offers insight, perspective, and the raw material for growth. Every mistake, every setback, every attempt that did not produce the desired outcome carries a message that can shape future decisions. Those who understand this do not allow failure to define them. They allow it to guide them toward better strategies, stronger resolve, and clearer vision. The human mind naturally wants to avoid failure. It is uncomfortable, embarrassing, and sometimes painful. But avoiding it at all costs also limits potential. Progress rarely happens without risk, and risk carries the possibility of mistakes. The key difference is perspective. A person who views failure as an ending stops moving, while a person who views it as a lesson begins again, armed with new understanding. Each failure contains clues. What did not work, what assumptions were incorrect, what skills need improvement, and what mindset requires adjustment. These clues are invaluable for anyone serious about growth. Every great achievement in history has been preceded by numerous failures. Inventors, leaders, athletes, and artists all faced moments that felt like the end of the road. The difference between those who succeeded and those who gave up is not talent or luck, but the ability to learn from failure. Thomas Edison did not see thousands of experiments as repeated failure. He saw them as steps toward discovery. Every unsuccessful attempt taught him something essential, something that brought him closer to the invention he sought. This approach transforms failure from a stopping point into a stepping stone. The emotional response to failure is natural, but it should not dictate future action. Disappointment, frustration, and self-doubt are temporary sensations, and while they may linger, they lose power when perspective shifts. Failure is feedback, not a condemnation. It is the universe or life's way of providing information, signaling that something in approach, preparation, or execution can be adjusted. When lessons are extracted, mistakes become investments in wisdom rather than losses. Resilience is cultivated through repeated exposure to failure. The first time something goes wrong, it may feel devastating. The second, frustrating. The third, familiar. Over time, a pattern emerges. Failure is not fatal, and growth is possible. Each setback strengthens patience, sharpens judgment, and increases adaptability. People who see failure as an ending are trapped in fear. People who see it as a lesson are empowered to act again, with more insight and a higher likelihood of success. True progress is forged in the willingness to rise repeatedly after falling. Failure also teaches humility and perspective. It reminds that no one is invincible, that effort alone does not guarantee results, and that the journey often includes obstacles that cannot be foreseen. These lessons create empathy, enhance understanding, and improve decision-making. They encourage careful planning, creative problem-solving, and the development of strategies that can withstand challenges. Success achieved without experiencing failure often lacks depth because it has not been tempered by struggle and reflection. Failure clarifies priorities and strengthens determination. When an effort does not succeed, it forces reflection. What truly matters? Which goals are worth pursuing despite difficulty? Which approaches require change? The experience strips away distractions, allowing focus to sharpen on what is essential. It is in these moments of recalibration that potential begins to unfold more clearly. The lessons of failure are not abstract. They are practical tools for shaping better choices and stronger action. Fear of failure is the most common reason people do not attempt anything worthwhile. It is a silent barrier that keeps dreams unrealized and talent dormant. Yet when failure is reframed as a lesson, fear loses its grip. Taking action becomes less about avoiding mistakes and more about exploring, learning, and moving forward. Every effort made, regardless of the outcome, contributes to growth. Even the smallest lesson learned from failure is a step toward mastery and accomplishment. The greatest achievements are rarely the product of perfect execution. They are the result of persistence, reflection, and adaptation. Failure is the bridge between what is and what could be. It is not a detour from the path, but an essential part of the journey. Those who embrace it understand that the end of an attempt is not the end of the story, but a chapter that prepares them for the next, stronger, wiser, and more capable than before. A meaningful life is built through action, courage, and purpose. Words and intentions alone cannot shape a life of significance. They are the seeds, but without effort, they remain dormant in the soil of potential. Action transforms thoughts into reality, ideas into achievements, and dreams into tangible progress. It is not enough to wish for change, hope for opportunity, or imagine a better future. The essence of a meaningful life is found in doing, in stepping forward even when the path is uncertain, and in creating momentum that carries vision into the world. Action is the bridge between possibility and fulfillment, and it requires discipline, consistency, and determination. Courage is inseparable from action because true action often demands confronting fear. It is easy to remain passive, to wait for conditions to feel safe, or to avoid challenges that might risk discomfort or failure. Courage is the decision to move forward despite these risks, to act even when outcomes are unknown, and to face obstacles with resolve. Every significant achievement in life has been preceded by moments of fear, hesitation, or doubt. The difference lies in choosing to act regardless of those emotions, trusting that effort, persistence, and resilience will guide the way. Courage does not guarantee success, but it guarantees growth. Without it, potential remains trapped, and the life one dreams of remains a distant thought rather than lived reality. Purpose gives direction and meaning to action and courage. Action without purpose can be busy work. Courage without purpose can feel reckless. Purpose is the compass that aligns effort with values, vision, and priorities. It provides a reason to continue when challenges arise, when progress slows, and when others doubt. Purpose fuels determination, sustains energy, and transforms ordinary efforts into extraordinary outcomes. A life built on purpose is not measured solely by external accomplishments, but by the depth of impact, the alignment with principles, and the contribution to something larger than oneself. It is purpose that transforms ordinary moments into meaningful milestones. A meaningful life demands a commitment to growth. Growth is not comfortable. It requires confronting weaknesses, challenging assumptions, and stepping beyond familiar boundaries. It requires learning from mistakes, accepting criticism, and constantly refining skills. Those who embrace growth understand that stagnation is the enemy of significance. Every decision to act with courage, to take responsibility, and to pursue purpose adds layers of strength, resilience, and insight. Each effort, whether small or large, compounds over time to create a life that is rich in experience, knowledge, and impact. The combination of action, courage, and purpose creates momentum. Momentum is what turns beginnings into progress, obstacles into opportunities, and challenges into achievements. Action initiates the process, courage sustains it through resistance, and purpose directs it toward meaningful outcomes. A single step taken consistently toward a clear objective produces results that might seem invisible at first, but over time, they accumulate into transformation. It is through this consistent application that ordinary lives become remarkable, and fleeting moments of effort become a lasting legacy. Meaning is also found in the impact one has on others. Action guided by purpose extends beyond personal gain and touches lives, communities, and even generations. Courage allows one to challenge injustices, to speak truth, to lead, and to inspire. Purpose ensures that these efforts are focused, intentional, and aligned with values that endure. A meaningful life is measured not only by personal satisfaction, but also by the positive influence one leaves behind. Every choice, every initiative, every act of courage directed toward a larger cause contributes to a life of lasting significance. Time is the most valuable resource in building a meaningful life. Every day, every hour, every moment is an opportunity to act, to choose courage, and to pursue purpose. Waiting for ideal conditions, fearing failure, or hesitating in doubt erodes potential. Those who recognize the fleeting nature of time understand that meaningfulness is not an abstract goal. It is created in the present through deliberate, consistent, and purposeful effort. A life lived fully, intentionally, and courageously leaves no room for regret, because every moment has been used to move toward what truly matters. Ultimately, a meaningful life is not discovered by chance, but by choice. It is chosen in the small decisions to act when others remain passive, to embrace courage when others retreat, and to pursue purpose when distractions tempt. It is built daily through intentional effort, resilience, and the unwavering commitment to grow, contribute, and live with significance. Through action, courage, and purpose, a life becomes more than existence. It becomes an example, a story, and a legacy that continues beyond the fleeting moments of time. So remember, a meaningful life is not something that happens by chance. It is built step by step, moment by moment, with every choice to act, every act of courage, and every pursuit of purpose. Do not wait for the perfect day. Do not fear the unknown, and do not let the past hold you back. Start now. Take that step, face the challenge, follow your purpose. Because the life you dream of, the impact you wish to make, and the legacy you hope to leave all begin the moment you decide to live intentionally. Make every moment count and make your life a story worth remembering.